Uh, you know, these are very Arun. These questions actually doesn't occur because color of the money is same. So there's no state-wise differentiation or something like that, honestly. So as I said, we recently invested into a Odisha startup. So, but none of our partners or any of our members are, largely, from Odisha. So it's nothing like this. If you're doing something good, money will flow in, people will come to you. You need to believe that. Don't think that only a Odisha guy will be able to understand our business proposition or our USPs or our value proposition. I would suggest pitch to everyone. There are multiple events, multiple pitching sessions, multiple pitching areas where you can go and anybody can understand your business idea, what you want to do. So it's not location based, nothing of that sort. But yeah, you can validate your business by speaking to like-minded investors, saying that this is what I'm doing. Hey, do you think this is of interest? Do you think any investors, if this might be of interest to him? So that ways you can explore. But to answer a question that looking out investors specifically in your local region, I don't have an answer for that, to be truth and honest.
Why I was mentioning this, because the other co-founder of our company is a doctor who is well connected with lot of HNIs here in Odisha, and we were discussing with lot of HNIs, to invest in our company. But then the whole point, because these HNIs do not have an understanding of how to invest in startups and all. So such kind of
So,
platforms.
I was just talking to Stanley, and are also in touch with other networks where we are bringing programs, weekend or half month programs, where we can get these HNIs be a part of those program. It's kind of angel boot camps where they join with, let's say it's Angel Works. They join with Angel Works and invest in something else, something which is having a return and all. So they learn slowly with the already existing investors and make it happen. And if they have an interest for Odisha, also they learn with the syndicate and start investing on people. So a week or 2 weeks time, we are planning to have those angel boot camps. So if you like to create interest, it may happen with you, it may happen with your colleagues and all. So you can let me know who are the guys, and we can definitely get them on board to in the process, so they learn how it happens. And if not today, in a quarter's time, they come back to us and invest on our startups.
I'll get them connected to you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So that's the idea, Stanley. Can you some way be a part of it? Because I appreciate your focus.
More than happy to be a part of it, Bhagavati. And
Okay.
Arun, these are, if you have investors and they just need a platform to get in invested, we'll just do it in, I'll assist you. We'll happy to more than, assist you there. It is just a matter of structure that is good.
We can have a charm again. I can help you in getting a better state startups from Odisha, around Odisha and the region. The template is almost same for Bengal, Bihar and all. So if we can have some 100, 200 applications and jot around 20, 30 and can have in 3 hours, 4 hours pitch session. I mean, you got to look at the ideas shortlisted.
Yeah.
Also, we talk about and before that, we can talk about who the HNIs in the region are interested, getting more streamlined with the kind of process. Because that's very important to incubators, startups to exist in a region and convert organically to a hub.
Yeah, because this particular discussion happened. Why? Because we couldn't figure out our valuation, and we couldn't come to a common valuation. So we discussed about convertible notes and all, which they were not comfortable about. So considering angel fund understand this criticality of initially investing in the seed startups. So this particular fund arrangement will be helpful for them.
Yeah. Arun, I think post this session, post this accelerator, we'll have a very intense session for your financials and all. So almost ready startups can really literally work on white paper and find out their status. And on the other side, mobilization and regularizing the HNIs. Even Stanley has agreed, so we would definitely get something
Sure.
within a quarter. Within a quarter.
Thank you, sir.
But more focusedly on the event, and now also you can look at the fixture. What are the different programs we are left with, and what we have spent with. If you can come back with some and appreciate, even also comment, because I know all the sessions, few of the sessions were too fabulous, few of the sessions you might not have liked. So please come out. The people are experts, but what kind of expectation you had there, we want to bridge a bit. So you can come back with the mentions. I think Saurav, Saurav, Dipti, anybody can come in.
Yeah. Hi, good morning, Stanley. This is Dipti
Hi.
from Moamul Foundation. So my query is like most of the startup, they are looking for this mostly funding support. Okay. But as a startup, we are having the different gaps and dimension in which we are looking to strengthening our innovation. So if we can bring some domain like export, supposedly my innovation is belong to the health sector. So if we can get like good mentor or advisor or investor, those who are in the domain specific, I think they will show the right way, so that each domain having the specific guidance.
Right. See, for subject matter expert, we can, connect you to a couple of mentors. But the thing is that, it's totally up to the mentor whether he wants to, take it up, whether he has the bandwidth to take it up or not also.
Yes.
Right. But I'm sure your incubator accelerator would be having a list of subject matter experts in their areas of interest. Like whenever a mentor is onboarded, we put in our areas of interest where we are largely interested, where we have some expertise, and we can help some startups in that domain. So so you can reach out to incubators or your own incubator accelerator. I'm sure you'll have a local subject matter expert in the local arena. This is where Arun, the role of a local guy comes in, because he understands the nitty-gritties of that specific region, state, city, area. So there, subject matter experts can help you, but investors is a separate topic altogether. A subject matter expert can only help you, build a best product.
Yeah, you are correct. The local, but if we look at the local here, they are particularly in the if we look at the Bhubaneswar Odisha sector, mostly they are specific like a academician or with respect to health and doctors, but they don't have any idea with respect to the business perspective.
Yes.
Okay, so that is the main gap as per my looking into this Odisha sector. And I have seen that there is a big problem. Though during the COVID situation, lot of entrepreneurs, they are getting into the health sector. If you look at the background, they don't have any experience in the health sector. Nothing else, no gaps assessment, nothing else. They are looking for COVID आ गया, इसमें अभी health sector में घुस जाते हैं. Okay, so in that sector, definitely we need the advisor. अरे भाई COVID है, ठीक है, अभी business है, but after COVID, what you will do?
I would second that thought, Dipti, also because considering we are in the operation for the last 10 months, we have been getting a lot of responses from the investors in the HNI in Odisha to get the investment, but the money has to be very good money, because we would get that investment, but these investors are not very prudent about how the startup works and all. They cannot take us to the next Series A round or Series B round. So that's the only problem that we are facing right now. So that's why we are not raising any these kind of HNIs.
Immediately for this kind of problem, you definitely like a couple of startups have done that. They intermediate an incubator who brings them another investor, because some investor may not be interested in putting the whole money or something like that. So they bring in as an advisor investor or a investor network circle who can handhold such investors to bring more confidence in and invest on them. And when you go through an incubator also, they believe in the execution plan that you are putting for 12 months, 18 months for the fund. That will be monitored and guaranteed by them. So the investor gets more confidence.
True.
So,
Right.
not as an incubator CEO, but as a player in this, sector, I've realized that, and it's concluded that most of our startups need an incubator routing where they get more of benefits, not just to promote my incubator. You can go to any incubator.
Right.
True. That's where where the whole role of board of advisor comes in. These investors becomes on board of advisor. Like we have onboarded the founder of Milk Mantra and we are connected with him specifically, and couple of angel investors who are Thai founders and all. So we have onboarded them as board of advisors, and we are working with them very closely to see the next round.
Please bring your case. We will deal it one-on-one. I'll see to connect a few lead investors who can at least handhold them, and few due diligence fellow who can bring in some figures and facts which the angels would be believing in and looking at you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Also,
Sorry.
while you
Yeah.
also while you onboard advisors and mentors and subject matter experts, be a little more frugal on your equity that you give them.
Hmm.
You won't be able to give them any monetary benefit. The equity benefit that you give them, should we not add so much of large that tomorrow you start feeling that it's too much of what you've given.
As of now, Stanley, it is a mentor and mentee relationship that we are continuing with. Obviously, there is some expectations from both the sides because these people have raised funds and institutional funds from a lot of VCs like Aviska Ventures and all. So and that's where we have been negotiating with them about the equity part. We haven't come to that discussion yet. It's still mentor and mentee relationship that we are having.
It's better you come to that relationship at a earlier stage because nothing's come for free.
Correct. So we have engaged one M&A lawyer also who is taking care of all the formalities regarding that, and also drafting the founders agreement, since because we both founders right now have a very huge age difference. So one of the co-founder who's a doctor is around 55, I am 30, but then the understanding is pretty much clear, and we have a very strong team now to build the case. And we have already achieved early traction in our company, and we are operationally profitable, to be honest. And what we need is the funds to actually scale this thing up to the next level.
Okay.
So Arun, I suggested we can have a diagnosis panel for your idea and the traction that you have. So we can have a look at your the product that you have in the market and also the business plan.
Sure.
And the recommendation of the diagnosis panel can let you to the network, investment network. And so.
Sure.
Saurabh, please.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Stanley, great to meet you here. And I've been actually following Rucum Capital and their investments for a while. One of my favorite lifestyle companies has been White Owl. And I understand that Rucum Capital is one of the primary investors in White Owl. And my question here is, whenever you onboarded White Owl, what were the primary indicators and markers that you selected?
White Owl,
And
which
you're
is
like-
White Owl here? I don't know which is White Owl. Sorry.
White Owl.
You must be talking about Sleepy Owl.
Oh, sorry, Sleepy Owl. I'm sorry. Yeah. So I was talking about Sleepy Owl. I mixed the names.
Yeah.
So Sleepy Owl, the coffee giant from Delhi. And what were the markers that you selected when you onboarded Sleepy Owl? And what made you realize that, okay, this would be a good investment for my money?
So see here, our analyses are based on a lot of research and theories and financial due diligences, legal diligences, diligence on the founder, numbers they have done, especially the crux is the product. We've tasted their products, we've tried their products, we've done a sampling of the products, we've done a customer survey of the products. We, not the company. Company does their customer survey, blah, 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 that's there. We as investor, we send it across, get customers' feedback, analyze, and we thought that this is best suited across the market. And the brand presence of Sleepy Owl, in the time you would have seen that, it has manifold. The numbers they're doing is also pretty high. And there are 3 founders. If you speak to 3 of them now, The three of them knows their core expertise. The three of them are aligned on what they want to do in their business. Their work doesn't get mixed or tangled among themselves. So they are very focused, young guys, enthusiastic, ethical. So it's a blend of everything. Actually, whenever anybody looks into any investment before making any investment.
Okay, so my startup itself is a food tech startup, and we've received a grant amount from Startup Orissa, and we're about to start our operations in Bangalore coming July. And from what I understand from your explanation is first you get traction, and then it would be best to approach Rukam Capital if we want investment.
Yeah, traction is very much important now. Before a POC stage, before a proof of concept stage, you can't go out to ask money. Grants and all, that's fine because that's something you don't have to pay back largely. So it comes in one-sided. But when you raise investor money, you are responsible from both the sides. One is spending and one is earning both sides. So there is a plus of getting a grant, there is a minus of getting a grant, there is a plus of getting investor money and a minus of getting investor money. So you guys have to decide, you have to be on the fire every time largely.
So I'm looking forward to getting in touch with you after getting some traction.
Yeah. So our connects is already there. Yeah, you can stay in touch with us for anything that's there. We've also invested into Burger Singh, which is a QSR chain in Delhi NCR.
Yeah.
Also invested into Swami, which is a tonic water company based out in Bombay. The quality of these entrepreneurs are, pretty good. And the quality of their products is what we can see from their numbers. That's what they do on a monthly sales and everything. So it's always good to reach out to investors once you have some traction in hand. Ideation stage would be more like, you're just trying to figure out a way of doing something at the risk of somebody else's money. If you guys don't have your money, do something small so that you can start proving themselves in a smaller way, or any smaller investor in a smaller way.
Okay, understand. That's all for my question. Thank you so much.
Satya, you have anything?
Satya, Bonvi.
Sorry, apologies. I had gotten call. Okay. Hi, Stanley, and we have really enjoyed all these past sessions, and I have few points that I would actually add to Arun and Dipti. The same thing that Arun was mentioning, that we need certain investors who would looking at I have seen most of all the startups in our cohort and the stage we are in, we would need, even for us, so for Bonvi Technology, even we need some investor who would who are core in nature, and they will be able to take us to the next step. Okay, now when I say next step, it is more towards when you are developing the product need to go to the client. And some certain investors who actually have some client connects, or mentors who have the client connects, would be able to take us to that stage. So we look like if we in these sessions we can get some mentors. Okay, if we can get some mentors who are coming from some of these core domains of hardware, because I have seen many of the mentors that actually have come and given the session.
I hear you, Satya.
Yeah.
Satya, I hear you. I understand what you're coming from. So, there are two things to it. You get a subject matter expert, in a way, we call them as a subject matter expert, mota moti. So, you use their connects, relationship and networks to expand your business. That's true. That's fine. But tomorrow, what happens, the tables also turn. If an investor who has his network connects and everything, but the startup has a different vision altogether, he says, boss, मेरे को वहाँ नहीं करना, मेरे को यहाँ करना है. So that is the time when the friction arises. So, and we've seen a lot of cases where investor says, do as I say. And we've seen cases where entrepreneur says, I want to do it my way, or there's no other way. So, things like this comes in. But at your stage, I understand, you will need all those connects, establishments to go through. But honestly speaking, we see entrepreneurs doing the business themselves and investors just helping them in some of the other connects and giving them a financial support. Because entrepreneur needs to run the show themselves, the network, the relationship. It is the reverse way actually. The entrepreneurs come to the investor saying, sir, you were in that company, somebody in that company knows you. Can you just speak to him? My work, can be done a little faster, or they can just consider me, at least give me a chance to speak. Something like this can happen. Then, going to the investor bare-handed saying, ki boss, aap apna network mere ko do. So he will be like, yeah, I give my network to 10 people like this. So
yeah, so Stanley, I completely agree with you, and that is exactly what even I want to tell, that no, the investor is not actually a subject matter expert and who actually helps an investment. Then what you told in the beginning, it holds true, and that is what will happen. But what I'm saying is the second thing, like last what you told, basically, just ask once in a while that he just give you a reference, and after that you take the entire thing forward. But that will happen when you actually go through a core or domain based type of investor. So some domain focus mentors coming and helping, taking the sessions would actually be very helpful for us. So for example, actually I will ask another follow-on question here, okay, which is very specific to our business model, and specific to our execution, even some strategic input from all of you on our business, on on our execution part, and or planning and execution part. Then you can actually from that, I believe you will be able to understand who would be able to help. So can I share my screen? Yep. 1 second. So if you see, this is like a timeline, okay. And could you see my screen? Is it?
Yes.
So okay. So this July is when we are showing a skeleton. So okay, now to give you a first background of the type of product that we are developing, we are into aerial mobility space, and we're talking about transporting goods and people through a vertical takeoff and landing vehicle, which is kind of flying car, flying taxi. These are the names, and we are starting with the cargo transportations, okay. And early we are now in discussion with some army clients, as in some defense clients, to take our vehicle to high altitudes for trials, okay, as in extremely high altitudes, different difficult weather conditions, and to try out, okay, our vehicle. So this July is what we are demonstrating, a skeleton model, right? A skeleton, it's a prototype, it's a complete prototype, just that there will be as in a prototype having most of the critical parts which are going to be there, okay, in the as in critical features that are going to be there in the vehicle. It requires some more things to basically take it to the MVP stage, and just to make it to the MVP, we would be taking time till December. And by August 2022, we want to onboard a client and understand the client requirement even beforehand, before December, and pilot with a client. So the thing is here, if you see, actually it's a very capex heavy it's a very capex heavy product development as in company, where we have taken this path to just reduce some amount of capex, because if we work for the client and along with the client, then client will also be part of our entire journey. They'll they'll see our journey, and through that we believe we will be able to reduce some amount of capex, okay. So we will be onboarding the client, and then by December 2022 we will be going for certification, because some of the certifications are very
I understand this, Satyavrata, but what is the context here? Can you tell me that?
Yeah, so I want to understand some strategic advice from you in terms of raising capital. So if you see on the top, okay, we are raising some capital for product development. Okay, we are raising capital for production. Okay, so when you look at the timeline, what's your first set of questions that come to your mind, right? Is it and what type of so some
My first question will be, how much money have you put in?
Okay, so 1 second. We have right now till July. When you see, we have put in close to $50,000.
INR में बता दो यार.
हाँ जी, 35 lakhs plus we have put in right now.
From 35 lakhs, where have you reached?
We have reached the skeleton prototype stage, which we are in right now.
Skeleton prototype.
Yeah.
And now you're looking to raise 5 million by another 6 months to get your POC final ready, your final product ready, right?
No, basically the 5 million would take us till July 23. I'm saying, for another 18 months is what we need. So for now, we don't need money till we reach the entire July milestone. But to reach the July 23, after
What about December 21?
Yeah, so just before that, we need to raise this fund so that we'll be able to go to MVP and then.
बात तो वही होगी ना यार, मैं वही तो बोल रहा हूँ आपको कि दिसंबर तक के लिए MVP लाने के लिए you would have to raise fund, right?
Yes.
Right. And 5 million is still another two years, right?
Yes.
Right. तो आपको MVP लाने में कितना पैसा चाहिए, आपको वो देखना चाहिए. If you take that capital in hand and see the bridge that is required from 35 lakhs to whatever the MVP amount takes, and then reach out to some subject matter experts, because that subject matters can, still have some appetite there to see the product, understand that product, see a vision of that product and get into it, whatever the check amount is. But getting out Sida for a 5 million raise, which is like almost 30 crores at a zero revenue stage, so it becomes a little dicey, especially when you have government clients where the payment module is not that straight. Also, things become a little tough there. So I'll take it up with you offline here, Satyabrata. This is a long discussion and a debatable thing. The plan that you're making should be more exhaustive. That July से December तक कैसे करोगे? 6 महीने में आपको अपना खर्चा भी तो चलाना है, या बाकी बंदे जो MVP बना रहे हैं उनका खर्चा, तो that all has to be taken care of. So that's why we've got Nidhi also here. Nidhi is the vice president at Rukum Capital. She largely handles our portfolio. So she does a good analysis of financial data that comes in, MISs that comes in for companies. She does a broad analysis of what the company has been doing, the past numbers, the present numbers, the future projections, how have they been doing in the past, how frugal they have been in the past, and how frugal they think they are doing currently in their month. So these are some analytics which you guys have to consider while making any current business plan or future projections also.
Right.
So Nidhi will give you some, take you through that session of, how do you she'll take you on a more detailed thing. But I think today she'll just give you a skeleton, as you said, of what a financial modeling is like, and, why is it necessary, and why do you think, what role it plays in helping you get an investment and mapping you that where are you spending more and less. So with that, I would, just ask Nidhi if you can just come in and, have a look into this and, just give them a session on, what is financial modeling, why is it important, what role does it play, so that they can also have an understanding on this, much better way.
Yeah. So hi guys. So starting with financial modeling is a kind of a technique which we need to incorporate in our business, because we are early stage companies, so we need to know in which direction our company is moving. And finance is the backbone of any company, because it helps you see the picture clearer and able to make you take your decisions faster, right? So basically you will have to, there are two aspects of financial modeling. One is your CapEx model and the other is your OpEx model. Because in the initial stage, you will have to do some sort of like capital investments, and which will give you return later on. And second thing, side by side, you need to manage your OpEx also. So you need to know like month on month how much revenue you are doing, how much you're spending on COGS, what are your gross margins, and then looking at all your expenditures, the various type of expenditures depending on the type of businesses that you all have, and then coming to your net margins. So you need to constantly focus on the financial models, because they help businesses make decisions, like how can you boost your capital, what kind of extension programs you want to take on further, how then it helps you in forecasting, budgeting, and your capital allocation in whichever fields, then even it also helps you in valuing a business. So that is also very important. So right now, like it's a broad skeleton that I have given you, but yes, we will discuss this in details maybe in another session, as Stanley has mentioned already. So if anybody has any questions, maybe, then yes, that can be answered.
Nidhi, I have a specific question. Basically we are into basically we are a health tech company where we are selling medicines. So there are two aspects to this. Like one, we are focusing on our GMV, another is focusing on our revenue, right? Like, so whenever we are calculating our valuation, we are discounting the cash flow depending upon the weighted average cost of capital on the revenue. Should we consider that on the revenue or on the GMV? That's what the question is, to calculate the valuation.
So for calculating the valuation, I think revenue, of course, GM is very important, because your COGS is also is an integral part, So GMV you have to take into consideration.
So GMV, you want to take the valuation on the GMV, we discount the cash flow on the GMV basis, or on the revenue basis?
See, GMV is also ultimately a percentage of revenue, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. So
my
GMV,
gross margin would be around, say, 14%.
Sorry?
14%. My gross margin would be around 14%. So basically, GMV, the revenue is around 14% of the GMV.
What is 14% of the GMV?
My revenue, my gross revenue is 14% of the GMV.
Okay. So, that maybe we can get offline and then, discuss all this in details,
Sure.
With your legal team.
Hello. Hi, Nidhi. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Nidhi. Satya this side from Groom. I have a
Hi, Satya.
specific question regarding the financial projections, right? So, like, we do a financial projection before going to the market, right? So, how to validate them? Like, this is a very common question that come from investor. How do you validate them? So, can you please explain, put some light on the financial projection part?
See, financial projections is like the way you are, aiming your business to grow, how
Yes.
ambitious you are. And you have to, project it in a certain manner, which is not only, it should not be over ambitious, and it should not be like, it should be somewhere realistic also. So ambitious come realistic. So some sort of that kind of a strategy you have to build in making your projections. So maybe you can show what, like any kind of a, say, percentage you take as a growth model for your company, and then gradually, you focus as per that and relate your expenses according to your top line. That's how you build a model.
Yes, that I understand. But we build this thing, financial projection, in the similar way. Most of the investors are like, how do you validate them? What should be the answer to them? Like,
So,
because
So we look at their projections in the way like how their monthly revenue they are showing, what's their growth rate, what's their ROS, what is their, how much they're spending on their marketing, branding, and it also depends on the founder also majorly, like how we feel that, yes, how much confidence the founder has, and the business model that he's showing, can we relate that business model with him as well, that yes, these are achievable figures, and yes, these can be achieved.
Okay, so basically, before going to the market, the validation is completely dependent on the founder, you meant to say.
Initial stages, yes, the founder has to be of some substance. Then only he can produce those numbers, yeah. And
Okay.
see, as Stanley also mentioned, there are a couple of aspects. We have to do a lot of market research also about the products. We do customer survey, and there are many other things, related, not just finance. It's a very integrated circle, that you have to consider before investing anywhere.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. That answers my question.
Is there anyone else, discuss discuss their financial model or anything specific on the finance with Nidhi?
One more thing, Abhishek. I have a question. Okay, that we are walking into the grooming industry. So actually, I'm seeking some advisors on it. So we are looking for someone to mentor us, an expertise from grooming industry, to define and validate our operation model. If anyone could connect us to them, then it will help us making the operation more better.
For this, I would suggest you to let's discuss this offline after 12, right, with me,
Sure.
and then I'll connect you to some people. But let me understand what exactly your business is, what exactly you're looking from your mentor, and what kind of support it is required for ensuring the growth of your business. And accordingly, I'll suggest you few names, and you should reach out to those people for the mentor connect, right?
Sure. I'll say you the pitch deck and the business model.
I'll do that, no issues. You can call me after this session.
Sure, Abhishek. Thank you very much.
So is there anyone else who wants to ask anything specific on the finance, anything specific on the financial modeling of their business, or anything if you want to know about the financial projection, what is required, what sort of requirement in finance once you are reach out to investors, anything about regarding finance, you can go ahead.
Yeah, hi Nidhi ma'am. I'm Vibhuti from A to Z Medical.
Yeah, hi Vibhuti.
Yeah, ma'am. I have a question, like where we will show grants in our financial model.
In your other income.
Okay. So there won't be any kind of tax over grant, right?
No. If it's a government grant, these are tax-free here.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Prafas, you had some questions? Prafas?
Guys, we have a great expert with us. Nidhi, by profession, she is a CA. She has done a lot of things in the finance. She has advised to I think the board of Dover as well. So I think you all have a great chance to discuss with Nidhi, because Nidhi will take your session on 9th also on financial modeling. But before that session, I would request you all to kindly go ahead with your questions, so that Nidhi will also understand what is your requirement, and she'll prepare herself for that session, right? Yes, Siddhanshu, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Abhishek, and very good morning to one and all. My question to Nidhi, hi Nidhi. Am I audible?
Yeah. Yes, Siddhanshu.
Yeah, Nidhi, I'm the founder of Job School, which is a edutech company, and especially we are working on the problem statement of solving the unemployment problem in our own way. We adapt it's an aggregator platform where we are trying to adapt the concept of hire, train, and deploy. So we do the reverse competency mapping, and we try to deploy the skillful candidates by grooming them into the different companies, those who are clients. So my question based on this would be, like, are the investors looking only at the traction and the team, or anything else which would be also taken into consideration if we are interested in funding?
See, it's not just only the traction. Of course, traction plays an important role. We also look at your business ideas also, like how much that idea, will develop into something great. So that is also there, as you mentioned that you are looking into, addressing the unemployment thing. So as I said that, see, I am from a finance discipline. So from a finance point of view and from a finance angle, yes, we do look at your projected chart, your projected graph, how in which direction it's moving. So it's not only just the traction that you've had so far, but also your future projections and how in which angle you are looking at as a founder, where you want to reach.
Yeah.
Does that answer?
Great. Yeah, of course, that I got it partially, I would say. So if given a chance, that I would like to showcase my, not exactly the pitch deck, but the model that we are working on, so that you get some clarity based on that.
Sure.
It will take hardly few seconds if I am permitted.
You want to do it right now or offline?
Whatever way is convenient for you.
Okay, so if you're comfortable sharing in front of everybody, it's okay. We can share it offline also later.
We can do it, but I don't mind. Earlier, I had the habit of not sharing it in the public, because every time you think that you are coming up with a unique idea and it is not expected to get leaked before you capitalize on it. But by some way or the other, it gets leaked, and it is also beneficial to the founders at some point of time.
Yeah. So let's share it offline only.
Okay,
let's
that's fine.
offline. Yeah.
So, I would like to share a few things here, apart from excluding the picture or whatever presentations I had to make. At one end we are finding Vedantu and Unacademy to be our competitors. They are giants and hugely funded. And at the other end, Internshalla, Indeed are also kind of competitors for us. But our USP is we are looking into both the fronts. We are not only into skilling but also into staffing, and we do the customized staffing. And it saves a huge amount of time, energy, and money when it comes to deployment of right resources in the reputed companies. So unemployment is a challenge, but if it is streamlined in a proper way, it can be sorted. That's my personal belief, and I have the confidence that if all the stakeholders involved in the project and in the mission, if they work in tandem, definitely it can be achieved in the few years down the line. So my question would be how to fight with of course we are going to focus on our own venture, but at times also focusing on your own venture and not looking at the upcoming those emerging competitors or even the existing competitors can be a hindrance or can create a problem in the future if you are not deciding on the entry barrier from the word go. What would you suggest on this?
See, as far as competition is concerned, now there is hardly any field in which there won't be any competitions. Even if you come up with any new idea, maybe after 6 months or another year, many more companies copy you and come up. Yeah.
Of course.
And so these things, they are part of this, and I think regarding your question, I think Stanley would be more appropriate. He would answer it better because he has a better expertise in all this.
Okay.
Stanley, if you're here. Abhishek, is Stanley there?
He'll come back in 5 minutes.
Yeah, so Sitanshu, I think Stanley would be better to answer this question. Yes, competition is always there, and this is how where actually you get tested and you get how you come out of it, how you take it up, and how you move forward, and you turn out to be better than the others who are coming into the same field.
Right. And maybe one more point to add on. Our organization has been 3.5 years old, and we have been bootstrapping since the inception. because one of our one of our mentors from the beginning told us that you should be taking investment until once it is pretty much required only.
Right.
So we have been frugal right from the beginning, and but time has come that we, in order to scale up and in order to beat the competition, we need to have the right runway with us, because we need to have the right team. We need to have a lot of people, those who can take care of different zones, because our target market is tier 2, tier 3 cities, and even the rural market, and penetrating in those areas for the big players is not that easy. Even it is not equally easy for us, but comparatively it can be made easy if you have the right team. And as Stanley was mentioning about fueling your team at the right time. So
Right.
that is where we are hustling a bit. We have been dependent only on the customers' money as of now. We have been reinvesting those money into our organization, and we are growing like that. It has been a recursive process. So what would you suggest based on the inputs that I've given till now?
Basically, what on what point do you want my suggestion? I'm not clear. You want my suggestion on how you want to recruit, or how you want to go forward, like in which way?
In fact, as you are one of the financial experts, I'm not a finance guy. That's where I'm lacking. And we are into staffing, so developing or recruiting or developing the right team, and because that's what our forte is, and we have been doing it for other companies as well. And so main constraint is how to maintain the due diligence in terms of financials, and how to understand the right financials at the right time, so that we can grow just exponentially.
So for that, yes, you need to keep initially, I will not suggest that you keep any a CA or an MBA finance, of course. At the initial stage, maybe you can keep some basic accountant level executive, any accounts officer who has the basic knowledge of keeping your books of accounts in a correct manner.
Okay.
Yeah, so that your books are not mixed up, and anytime when any kind of investors are there or anybody else, they would like to see your books month on month basis, how you're progressing. So you have to keep it in a manner that, yes, they are not, mixed up, or things are maintained in a certain format, right? So you need to keep a basic accountant level person who knows what is debit, what is credit, a basic thing, a very, very basic thing now I'm coming to, that he is able to, take out your monthly net margins, your gross margins in a correct manner. He's not mixing up things. So that kind of a level you need to recruit initially, because keeping your books in a right manner will actually help you in a long way. It will help you take, and it will help you see in which direction you're actually moving.
Okay.
Yeah. So that way, initially, I think you can start with that. And as you grow forward and you feel that now there is a need for a CFO or a financial expert, you need to keep, that depends on the type, you reach a certain a certain benchmark that you think, yes, now this is the right benchmark, and now I should employ somebody of a higher grade. Otherwise, you can outsource also. There is a provision, you can outsource also your bookkeeping, your accounting. So
Nidhi,
that's how you manage.
Nidhi, I have a question on this.
Yeah.
A lot of entrepreneurs, startups, I see they come to investors, they come to other stakeholders, and they really show that they have done this much of so far, right? And the traction is this much. They're doing business of 1 lakh, they're doing business of 10 lakh per month, right? But in 90% of the cases we have seen, I personally have seen, they have not maintained any books, right? They have not maintained any books. They cannot show or realize or make stakeholders realize that, yes, this is the progress that you have done so far, and it is reflecting in your books, or they have maintained something which is legal and credible, right? So what is your suggestion on this to the entrepreneurs, what they should start doing from the very first day, and how to validate themselves and to validate their business as well, and to validate this business among investors, among other stakeholders?
Yeah, so I know initially it is, yes, because it's a startup, and yes, you have a certain restriction on your finances, you have to maintain a runway, everything taking into account. But yeah, books need to be maintained in a certain manner, because until they show a true and a fair picture, it's very difficult for the parties on the other side of the table, to get convinced on how and which way you're moving. Now, suddenly you're supposing you are showing a revenue of, say, a lakh of rupees a month, and then we realize, oh, the GST was also included in it. Certain returns were also included in it. They were not deducted properly. So that shows an inflated, revenue. So which is very misguiding, misleading at times. So you need to maintain a proper accounts, and for that you need to keep somebody, maybe at a very very junior level also you can keep initially, or you can outsource it, and it's not very very expensive. You can keep somebody at, say, 5,000 a month also. You can outsource your accounting at 5,000 rupees a month also, who just comes weekly, does your entries, and then goes back. So at least at any point of time your entries are complete, your books are maintained properly, then you can figure out your MISs. So it is nothing very complex. We feel scared of the finance part, but it is not to be felt scared of. It is something very easy. यार सबको cash गिनना आता है कि कितना आया और कितना गया. That is it. That how much has come in and how much has gone out, and in which areas it has gone out, which expenses heads it has gone out. It's something simple as that, in a very very layman's language. Yeah. So it's always easy to get somebody who can maintain your books, maybe on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, depending on the type of volume of business that you have and the type of number of entries that you have in a day.
Right, Nidhi. In fact, Abhishek has pointed out the right question. Like that is the problem every entrepreneur faces, and later on it's not only that we face at the initial stage. Later on, it becomes a habit of not maintaining the records in the right way. But like when we go and pitch to the investors, everything is required, even for applying for the awards. Whenever time comes, we go for the auditing, annual auditing, and all those stuff, and we maintain the records likewise. So, what tools would you suggest for that, and how, so that it can be conveniently maintained by the the core team itself?
So for a tool, you can use any kind of business software that is suitable for your type of business. Many people use Tally. So, that way you can have a customized sort of a software where it is, easy to feed in and get reports out of it. So reports can be generated through many, many softwares, whatever kind of reports. Even reconciliations are done through a software these days. So AI is coming up now. So chartered accountants will have lesser value. So, but then apart from that, there's always a system that you have to develop so that it helps you in future also. See, it's something that you have to make your base strong, right? Even for finance, you have to make your base strong so that once your building starts building up, so pics are clear, your picture is clear in which way it is again heading. I'm again repeating the same thing, but there is no way certain tool, as you're asking me, that certain tool I can suggest is any kind of business software you take which is user friendly in the initial stages and which you can understand well. Tally is good enough for any kind of business right now, and it is easily understandable. Many accountants are very friendly with it, even junior level ones, and they can help you out with it.
So how about Zoho Books and all?
Zoho Books I've not heard of, sorry.
Okay, it's actually finance maintenance, like tools.
Zoho is an online tool, Nidhi, which gives you an accounting, pre-accounting software type thing. Zoho has a lot of things.
Zoho. Okay.
Zoho is Zoho.
Okay.
Even that is for Zoho is making it available for all the founders at least for a year, and it's for free because somebody's DPIIT registered and even recognized by.
And that's very good. That's very good for you.
Right.
I think, yeah.
After 1 year, what is the charge?
That we have to look into. Like per user, they charge, I suppose, They have around more than 30 plus applications in Zoho, because I have been using it, but excluding Zoho Books.
I know, Sridhar. So, so Zoho is a good platform to develop website, backend, and stuff like that. On the
Exactly.
accounts part, I'm not that well versed there. But if
No.
it's a 1 year free tool, that's very good. But after 1 year, just check what is the, charges, regular charges, plus how easy is it to shift from Zoho to any other software. That is also one of the concerns that you should take into consideration.
Stanley, I believe 1200 to 1500 is what I've heard that they charge per user.
Yeah. So यार कहने का मतलब ये कि आप अकाउंट से ना अपना जितना इंटरनल रख सकते हो वो बेटर है, because that's a third party tool any which ways.
G.
Yeah.
Right.
You can also look at HubSpot. HubSpot is coming good now. Freshwork and HubSpot also are doing good. So you can have a comparison within this and what suits you more, okay, your kind of feelings. And then also over the points Stanley pointed out, you got to see
Because
how flexible it can merge to your future things and all. And
Because every tool is having their own set of pros and cons. Right.
Yeah, but something suits you better. So
Exactly. That's we have to figure out. Exactly. So now that Stanley is back, like Nidhi, you wanted to forward one question to him.
Yeah, Stanley.
Yes.
So Sudhanshu wanted to ask that how to deal with competition,
Yeah, that's a very broad answer, Sitanshu. Before starting the business, you should think of that.
Stanley, actually, you are out for a while. Let me just brief in few seconds only. We have been into the edutech domain, and we have been trying to do solve the problem of unemployment through our own way, unique approaching through the hire, train, and deploy concept. And we are doing it through our aggregator platform. We are doing the reverse competency mapping. We are grooming the candidates. Earlier, we were only into training. Now we have pivoted a bit, and we could see during the pandemic, even the resources are required by almost all the organizations. Although, retrenchment is going on, but still then they hire in huge numbers. So that is where we also fit in by understanding their needs, and that also saves a lot of money of the companies, because if they're hiring through us, they need not go for any OJT, even they need not go for any, campus drives and all. And post campus drive also, they need not go for OJT, because they get the customized resources as per their need. So, as I was mentioning to Nidhi, that at one end we are finding the competitors to be Vedantu, Unacademy, because we are not only into the grooming the candidates in terms of campus to corporate, but also we are into the competitive world, coaching people into competitive exams and all. And we are also into staffing. So at the end, we, apart from Vedantu and Unacademy, we do have competitors like Internshala, Indeed, and those who are hugely funded. So as I was asking Nidhi, that how to beat these competitors, those who are hugely funded and even the emerging competitors.
See, the way of beating out competition is definitely by raising some funds and trying to sustain yourself in this, exploded market.
Exactly.
Right? One is to raise funds and keep yourself funded so that you can sustain this ship or this wave.
Right.
Second is, your offering should be much better. Your existing customer should feel more inclined towards you always, so that they are not, latched on to other coming up competitors.
Right.
So your offerings, your USPs, how better are you from your existing competitors or from your upcoming competitors? That's something up to your expertise to think over it, because competition is an ongoing process in the in your journey. This will be here there by a name of an academy or an academy or whatever.
Absolutely.
So this will be an ongoing process, and you have to see what is the crust or a startup. Startups are more easier to competition and adaptation and change.
Right.
See, for example, an Oyo, right? Oyo is almost competing to ITC and Taj. The numbers that these guys are doing without having an operation or a heavy asset model in place, they don't do largely like that, right?
Right.
So it has a building of its own, but largely franchise, co-franchise, somewhere, the terms are there, better terms are there. So competition is definitely higher for them. So this is something which will be most of the time, disrupting and evolving with time. And this is something you have to go back to the slides and iterate your business plans every now and then, sit with your team, take advice from customers that how better, well you can be. Best is to go to your customer, ask them ki boss, where do you think we are lagging and how better should we go? They will tell you, boss, Unacademy ye de raha hai, Internshala ye de raha hai, aap yahan pe nahi ho, aap wahan pe nahi ho. So these all, customer feedback will help you grow a company for sure.
Yeah, you have rightly put. In fact, like we have been bootstrapping since last 3.5 years since our inception, and it's according to me personally, I feel that it's the right time. We should get sufficient runway for us so that we can build the right team, expand the team rather, and to sustain ourselves also in the market. We can to beat the odds. We need to be fueled properly.
Yes. Yes.
Stanley, one more follow-up question. Our organization is an LLP. So, and usually I've heard and I've found from many investors that, they prefer to invest in private limited companies.
I understand your point. Sitanju. Sorry to cut you.
So if at all I'm going
जब
to...
तक आपके पास कोई investor आता नहीं है, he confirms your investment, I would suggest run it like an LLP. If your investor is confirmed, 100% confirmed, convert that LLP into private limited.
That can be done. That can be done.
Filing, record, maintaining, closing, it's a beast, another beast altogether. LLP is very easy, tax efficient, better structure, more easier to comply. There is a lot of things which are private limited company. Tomorrow any investor in the air says ki boss main dal dunga tere pe paise, tu private limited kar de. You do a private limited company and then he says boss I can't do it, and then you'll be suffering with your private limited company. You can't go back.
Right.
So just be concerned there, because if he's coming into the company, he should come in with what you are. So LLP को फिर private limited कर दीजिए, because that's a matter of 10-15,000 rupees.
Right.
Largely यही आएगा, एक agreement बनेगा, LLP की सारी liabilities will come into this private limited companies.
Right. Stanley, वो recognitions वगैरह भी सारे transfer हो जाते हैं, just
recognition नहीं होंगे.
I mean DPI recognitions and startup state recognitions and all.
मेरे ख्याल से नहीं होगा.
Not possible.
Not possible, because the same company, same entity is getting just transferred from LLP to private limited.
But there is a difference in Income Tax Act. There is a difference in your Compliance Act. MCA अलग है, Income Tax अलग है. Your changing LLP to private limited comes under Ministry of Corporate Affairs, which is company secretarial compliance.
Okay.
Income Tax Act अलग है. ये दोनों बहुत अलग-अलग चीजें हैं.
I understand.
तो आपको DIPP सर्टिफिकेट देता है कि आपका 25 करोड़ तक का टर्नओवर होगा तो XYZ रिबेट मिलेगा and all those things. Right. So this Income Tax Act says कि if you buy a company, then you are no more a startup. Technically, you have to buy over this LLP.
Okay.
Into this private limited company. नहीं तो you will form a new company altogether itself, and then you can apply to DIPP with that private limited company saying, boss, this is a new company altogether, and aim for them to get a certificate or registration.
Stanley, one very pertinent question related to this. My company name is Apogee Consulting and Training Services, and the brand name is Job School. So would you suggest, if we are funded, let's say we are funded, and the investors want our company to be converted to private limited, so would you recommend that let the Apogee Consulting and Training Services let it run that way as an LLP, and the brand name can be converted to private limited? Can we do that way? Is that possible?
Brand name अगर आपके पास है, trademark है, तो आप कर सकते हो कुछ भी यार. उसमें तो कुछ नहीं कर सकते, because both the side, the promoter are the same.
Exactly. So that can be done according to you.
It can be done. That can be done. Okay. Because brand name is associated as a brand. Like for example, Ola is a brand. The company name is XYZ Private Limited.
Fine.
Brand name you can carry.
So later on we can close ACTS gradually, and we can continue with Job School Private Limited and in the meanwhile also we can apply for all the recognitions and we can get it done.
Yes, you can get it done, but your investor should also be comfortable with that, because वो दिखाएंगे कि but it becomes a little tangy यार. You have to speak to that investor who is coming that time, and get a good financial advisor, because that is very important. Tomorrow if you get a notice from income tax, you will be in a very bad state. This LLP to private limited is not an easy task. They see it कि यार इसके पास पैसा है तभी इसने LLP से private limited किया है. And with money, many other things get attracted to you. So these are two separate things, because आपके books में investors ने numbers देखे हैं LLP के, private limited में P&L बिल्कुल अलग तरीके से बनेगा. So my advice would be get a good finance advisor or advisor while doing this transaction.
Okay.
But your investor should be fine. This should be this will be a bland scratch company जहाँ revenue zero होगा, which is understandable. और उस कंपनी को आप धीरे-धीरे बंद कर दोगे. And वहाँ से सिर्फ brand name उठा के ले आओ यहाँ पे.
Right. Thank you so much for your inputs.
Who is next?
Hi, I'm Anjan Kumar from Artbury. I want to know how to filter out the competitors. So we are into high-end architectural work, and this is a field which is not yet explored at all in India. There is no one doing such work, but there are still a lot of people who are doing such work. Either they are importing these services from Europe, either they have some in-house design teams and doing some things, but still I'm not able to find how to filter out the competitors, because if I look at it, it's like every furniture making company is my competitor, every architect is my competitor, like every other person who is related to any way in construction is a competitor. But when I look at them, I feel I can sell it to them as well. So I look at them as not as competitor, more as my customers. So that is where I have a problem. I mean, how should I filter and put few people only on this chart of competition?
Yeah, see, on a competition, to be very honest, there is a difference in competition. There is a difference in direct competitor. There's a difference in indirect competitor. There is a difference in a strategic competitor. And there is a difference in a industry conglomerate competitor, industry leader competitor. So these are separate type of competitor. Everybody won't be your direct competitor. Like, for example, DLF can't be your direct competitor, right? It will be an indirect competitor. There will be a phase where you reach where you can compete with XYZ. But you have to see your existing competition, because you have to pass them first and then reach out to those leading giants or big pocket guys. And in terms of architecture, these are, I understand, but I guess there are a couple of platforms which have now come up who give you these, whole architects, interior designers, sort of, list of people. And if you can't get those, also do an offline research here. Go to Just Dial, go to Yellow Pages. Before internet craze was there, people used to do this groundwork themselves. So if you don't have access to that, you have access to Yellow Pages, you have access to Just Dial, you have access to your general database of Google. If you dial, if you put in architects, you'll get a whole list of architects. I'm sure there will be plenty of them who are, graduating from courses month on month, year by year, right?
So
but still you have a rough numbers of your people who are there in the industry, and see how many are employed and how many of them are doing it as a professional guy. So you'll get some numbers around.
I've done that research. I've done that there are 9,000 architects there in India. I've done all those researches. I've done what is the cost of the projects they are doing. But when I'm making that competitor chart and filtering out, like, these are the 5 competitors of mine, but being very honest, I put them on the chart that these are 5 competitors of mine because they are working very, very close to what I am working. Like you see the office where you are sitting right now, the ceiling of that office, it is very beautifully made, and this is a innovative parametric design. So someone who must have designed such an office, they would have either outsourced this kind of design, or they have a small in-house designing team. but no one is doing these kind of designs, these kind of architecture in a scale-up model. Because in India, the fashion of architects are more of a enterprises, like not as a startup model. Because of which, when I look at them as, I mean, more as customers than as competitors. But when I have to put them on this chart of competition, I'm like, this is very a big question for me. How should I put them on that
No,
chart?
you put them on your prospective client and competition.
Okay, is that possible in that way?
Yeah, because as you're saying, they can onboard you or they can just push you aside. Yeah.
So you got to know how they are managing the work that you are doing. You know, if they are doing a gross work, then who is doing your part of work for them? So is there a particular partner who is doing for many? Then he's your competitor. May not be the architecture itself, but the fellow who is doing for many or architect for this kind of your part of job. You got to invade in and see all these architectures who are, let's say in Bhubaneswar, there are 10 architects are working good grossly. So then who is doing these works for them? There would be one or two, not 10. So these one or two you got to look at and try to find your differentiators and pitch the other architects who are those who are there. So you get a differentiator to these common people who are doing your work or part of the architects, and then approach them.
Okay, understood.
And honestly, if there is competition, then then you'll have more skin in the game. Trust me.
Yeah.
And
So
if you
it's
see
like,
your competition as your prospective client now, it will be more better for you and for them also. See, that's the reason why mergers and acquisitions happen. That's the reason why people buy out a startup. That's the reason, because either they will kill him or vice versa.
So actually, what happened when I look at the architect, I see they have either an in-house team for particular design, and then or they outsource that for particular designing, and then that designer give them the detailed drawing, and then they outsource other installers. The installers then outsources to other material distributors. So what I am doing all of that together at one place. So that is where I feel like, if I see the furniture making people, they are also our competitors. The architects, they are also our competitors.
I understand that part, yeah, but they do that. They do subleasing step by step. That's because they want to be, just make it more cost efficient and effective. Right?
But the timeline can be managed and the project can.
If you give them the benefit of time and cost both, definitely they will love to, give you a project and start with you.
All right. So I
You
get
need to work on, the complete supply chain you got to work on and see who is tapped, who has already tapped, and what are the best, and how we can work for that. Let's sit for that. No issues.
Right. Understood. All right. Thank you.
We'll keep on having this review session with time and again, and you can come up with all sort of questions that you have. Had this COVID not been in between, I would have loved to be there, spend a day with you guys there, without being distracted, and answered your query one by one in person with you guys, so that it would have been more effective for you to think over what you're doing, how you're doing, whether to do or not, and how to do it and all.
Stanley, few of the these investor circle guys, what they're doing is they're inviting applications, then they filter it to some numbers, and then they sit with them to groom them for a couple of months. Are you guys into that sort of process?
Yeah, we were earlier, but current bandwidth, as we speak, wouldn't be possible. But you can share with us if we have, if we have the bandwidth for that. We would love to do that.
No, it's like I'm just asking because we can have that template, then partially, or you can empower few of us to do a part of it, and then you can pick it up. So we can do it quarterly or half a year kind of things.
Yeah, quarterly, once in a quarter, halfly, we can work on something like that. Definitely love
because I was just planning to take help of people like you, and on the other side in the ecosystem I work, because it's becoming unattached, remote, and so if we can do some sort of 1 or 2 level of curation, and then have you guys and have a quarterly pitch day at least.
Yeah, Yeah, we can do that. We can do that.
That would brand us, that would benefit ecosystem, and also maybe you guys on the other side.
Yeah. Happy to do that.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So guys, any questions? Any other questions? Anybody else? We should, I think it's already 1.5 hours. So if you don't have a question, it was a beautiful and new thing that had happened in your ecosystem. You had seen a lot of such programs, the Startup Odisha who has sponsored this program, thanks to him. But they did a fund stack, karke they had a program, around 50 such investors had come, two sessions a day. But nowhere it has been followed up what the guys are having, what the guys are taking in, what is happening to the audiences, who are the audience. And the review that I saw in the quick fixer that submitted by Abhishek, I found it very interesting. After 5 sessions, a review, and the program designer and the team themselves are sitting together with you to do that. So I'm too impressed, and I think you guys are making max out of it. And if you have any questions, let's go. Otherwise, we should call it off.
Yeah. So great, guys. Thank you for coming in and sharing your thoughts. I would suggest, if you have more thoughts, compile them. We'll have this review session timely again. So happy to address them. It should not be more like a GAN session. It should be more like, what did you get out of it? And you should feel that, your time has been spent worthwhile. So our focus is largely that. You guys get the best what you want. And Mr. Bhagwati is there. If you need any direct questions, you can reach out to him. We are always accessible to him. So happy to do, whatever is required as and when the time arises. So looking forward, guys. So, just keep on doing, and just don't wait for grants and investors. I've been saying this every time, largely with everyone. Just focus on your business, yeah. Money will flow in.
We'll work on it. So thank you so much, Stanley, Abhishek is there, and Nidhi for the right inputs needed to the startups. And guys, you got the fixer. Please be attentive in the sessions, maximize your interaction, and also get back with the right value points to the review sessions coming up. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks a lot. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bhagwati.
Thank you.